Hi there. Today I want to talk about aliases and shortcuts to really speed up your workflow when working in Rhino. When you have a fairly complicated drawing or a project and you want to make adjustments on the fly, shortcuts and aliases can really save you a lot of time. So let me give you an example of how a shortcut might really save some time. I've got this drawing here and I want to select all of the objects on this layer. So I select the first object, and traditionally I go to Tools, Select Object Layer, right click, and go Select Objects. And now all of the objects on that layer have been selected. But that's about 3 steps. I want to bring that down to 1 step. So the way I have this set up is that I have a shortcut F4 and it will do the same thing. So I select the object, press F4, and all of the objects on that layer are selected. From there I can go to the Properties menu, change the print width to by layer or something specific. In the Rhino Options menu, I go to Keyboard and I've set the F4 key to have this macro occur. I got this macro from the McNeel forum when I asked if there was any quick way to do what I wanted to do, which was to select all of the objects of the layer of the object that I selected. And someone came up with this and it works. And you can see here that there's a whole heap of other shortcuts which I've set, which are really commonly used. So for example, Control-Shift-1, Boolean difference between closed poly surfaces, and then Boolean split, or for example Control-Alt-X, which I use as a split command. Control-Alt-S, I've got the split command but using the point sub option. So when you set up your shortcuts, you can really save a lot of time if you know what the command is that you want to do. I have set F1, F2, F3 and F4 as some of the most used command macros that I use in Rhino. So for example, I wanted to select all of the objects which have the same print width as that object. Press F1. And there you go, it has selected all of these objects. If I want to be shown the layer of this object that I select now, select the object, press F2. It takes me straight there. If I want to activate the layer of the object which I select so that when I start drawing new geometry, it's on that layer, select the object, press F3, and you can see that that has now put the tick next to this layer. And then lastly, if I want to select all of the objects on the layer of the object that I now select, I press F4. So let's say I want to select all of the objects on this layer. I'll press that and press F4, and now all of those objects are selected. This makes it really easy to isolate RU as an alias, and then I can work on these objects individually. And then I press UI for me, which is unisolate, and you can see that all of these objects have now been returned. I have some keyboard shortcuts and aliases which run external Python scripts or Rhino scripts. For example, the F2 keyboard shortcut runs the Python script select object layer. So if I go to Tools and then go to Python script and edit and go to Tools Options, it asks me to set the directory that it should look in for finding these scripts. So I've set it to be what it is. It's AppData Roaming McNeel Rhinoceros 7 and then scripts and user Python scripts. And then from there, you type in the run Python script command and then you type in the file name within quotes. And then when I press F2, it runs Python script and finds the file exactly with the file name, select object layer. And now I'll show you about aliases, which are very similar to shortcuts. So let's say I wanted to select all of the objects in this drawing which have this exact aqua color. Traditionally, I would go to the select menu and then go select by color, and that would select all of those objects. But I've also set an alias. For me, it's the keys S, then R, and then spacebar, which is enter, and it will do exactly the same thing. So I select that first object, SR space, and it's done. So you can see that that little amount of saving time will, in the long run, save a lot of time. In the options under the aliases tab, I've set quite a few different combinations for a whole heap of different actions which I find very useful within Rhino. For example, I'll show you 2 quick aliases. I've got the alias dv, which runs the command divide, and I've also got the alias exs, which runs the command macro extract surf with the sub option copy equals yes. So now I'm in Rhino and I want to demonstrate that macro. I want to divide this curve and place points along this curve spaced at 2000 millimeters apart. Normally I would type divide and then press enter. But because I have a command macro dv space, it's simply, and that takes about 1/3 of a second. So if I type in L and then press space and then type in 2000, it's going to give me points along that curve spaced at 2000 millimeters. And now I'll give you another example of an alias. I have an alias set as EXS, which takes the selected edge of an object and extracts it as a copy. So I'm going to take, let's say, 2 of these edges of this cube, and I type in EXS. And you can see what it's done is it's first done the command extract surf, and it's done the option copy equals yes. What it does is it creates this copy so that the original cube remains as it was. If I were to do that manually, I'd be typing in extract surf. I would be selecting the option copy equals yes, and then I would select the objects and press OK. And now we have those copies. But you can see that it takes more time. I know that when I want to extract a surface from a poly surface, I want it to be a copy. I don't want it to destroy the original poly surface. So that's the advantage of setting it up. So you type in EXS space, and you'll get that extract surf with the option copy equals yes. And you can do as many of these as you want. You have to learn the language which you need to write in these commands. I hope you enjoyed that video. I've saved so much time with shortcuts and aliases, and I think that you can too. I'm going to put these aliases and shortcuts in the description if you want to try using them. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and consider telling your friends. Cheers!